It all started in grade 4. You know how some memories feel like they're filmed in soft focus, hazy around the edges but crystal clear in the center? That's how I remember meeting Angeline. She was the new girl in class with bright eyes that seemed to hold a universe of kindness, and a smile that could genuinely disarm anyone. I was a quiet kid, content with my books and my own little world. But there was something about her that made me want to step outside of it. She had this energy, this warmth, that drew people in effortlessly. Our first conversation was simple, probably about a homework assignment or a cartoon we both watched, but it was the beginning of everything. Our friendship didn't happen overnight, with a grand gesture. It was built on small, everyday moments. We started sitting together during recess, sharing our snacks and stories. She would tell me about her family, and I would tell her about the books I was reading. It felt so natural, so easy. Angeline had this incredible ability to make you feel seen and heard. She didn't just listen, she truly paid attention. For a shy boy like me, that was a profound gift. She saw past my quiet exterior and befriended the person I was on the inside, long before I even knew how to show that person to the world. I remember our teacher would often pair us up for projects. It was as if the universe was conspiring to bring us closer. We would spend hours in the school library, our heads bent over textbooks, but our conversations would always drift to our dreams. She wanted to be a doctor, to help people. I wanted to be a writer, to tell stories. Even at that young age, we were mapping out our futures, and somehow, we always imagined each other in them. Those library sessions were more than just study time. They were the foundational bricks of a bond that I thought would last a lifetime, laying the groundwork for a connection that would define my youth. Looking back, our friendship in those early years was so pure. It was about shared laughter over a silly joke, the comfort of having a partner for a difficult school activity, and the simple joy of knowing someone was in your corner. Angeline was my first real friend, the kind you read about in stories. She taught me what it meant to trust someone, to share your vulnerabilities without fear of judgment. She was the person who showed me that connecting with another human being was not something to be afraid of, but something to be cherished. That grade 4 classroom was more than just a room. It was the birthplace of a friendship that would shape me in ways I could never have imagined. Our story wasn't written in just one place. It was scattered across a map of shared memories, each location holding a piece of our journey. The school hallways were our daily runway, where a simple glance or a quick hello between classes was enough to brighten the entire day. The library was our sanctuary, a quiet haven where we not only studied, but also shared our deepest secrets in hushed whispers. Then, there was the familiar route home. We would walk together, our bags heavy with books, but our hearts light with conversation. We'd talk about everything and nothing, from the day's lessons to our grandest dreams, the setting sun casting long shadows behind us as we delayed our goodbyes for as long as we could. As we grew older, our map expanded. 7-Eleven became our go-to spot for a quick, cheap snack, where we'd share a single Slurpee with 2 straws, laughing as we tried to get the last drop. Jollibee was for a more special treat, a celebration for passing an exam or just because we wanted to indulge in a jolly spaghetti and chicken joy meal. I can still picture us sitting in a booth, talking for hours over a plate of fries, the world outside fading away. These places weren't fancy, but they were ours. They were the backdrop to our inside jokes, our serious talks, and the comfortable silences that only the closest of friends can share. Our weekends were often spent visiting our dream universities. We would walk through the sprawling campuses of De La Salle and Ateneo, marveling at the architecture and imagining ourselves as students there. We'd sit on the benches at Miriam College talking about which courses we would take. These weren't just tours, they were explorations of a future we were planning to build together. We even made trips to SM Fairview, not just to shop, but to people watch and dream. And then there was Kingstown too, a quiet subdivision where we'd walk and talk, imagining a future where our lives remained intertwined, forever neighbors and friends. Starbucks became our study headquarters during the grueling thesis days. Fueled by coffee and shared determination, we would camp out for hours, surrounded by laptops, books, and crumpled notes. Those moments were a mixture of stress and support. When I felt overwhelmed, Angeline would be there with a word of encouragement. When she was tired, I would make a silly face to make her laugh. We were a team, navigating the pressures of academics together. Each of these places, from the humble 7-Eleven to the aspirational halls of a university, was a chapter in our story, a testament to a bond that was built on shared experiences and a deeply held belief in each other's futures. Angeline was more than just a friend or a first love. She was a force of nature. I call it the Angeline effect. She had this innate ability to radiate positivity, to find the silver lining in any cloud. Before she came into my life, my world was painted in shades of gray. I was introverted, often lost in my own thoughts, and content to remain in the background. But Angeline brought color into my life. She encouraged me to speak up, to share my ideas, and to believe that my voice mattered. Her confidence was infectious. She didn't try to change me, but she inspired me to become a better, more open version of myself. Her happiness was my happiness. Seeing her smile was like feeling the sun on your face after a long, cold winter. She found joy in the simplest things, the taste of her favorite ice cream, a beautiful sunset, or a song she loved on the radio. This taught me to appreciate the small moments, to find beauty in the everyday. She showed me that happiness wasn't a destination you arrive at, but a way of traveling. With her, even a boring school day felt like an adventure. Her laughter was my favorite sound, a melody that could instantly lift my spirits and make any problem seem smaller and more manageable. This inspiration extended to my personal growth. Angeline was ambitious and hardworking, and she motivated me to be the same. She was my biggest cheerleader. When I doubted my abilities, she was the one who would remind me of my strengths. During our study sessions, she would patiently explain difficult concepts to me, never making me feel inadequate. It was because of her that I started to take my studies more seriously, that I started to dream bigger. I wanted to make her proud. I wanted to be worthy of the faith she had in me. She was the catalyst that pushed me to strive for more, to reach beyond my self-imposed limits. Ultimately, Angeline taught me how to be happy. It wasn't something I knew how to do on my own. I was more inclined to worry and overthink. But she lived with such a light and open heart that it was impossible not to be influenced by it. She showed me that being vulnerable wasn't a weakness, and that opening your heart to others was the bravest thing you could do. Her presence was a constant reminder that life was meant to be lived, not just observed from the sidelines. The Angeline effect was profound. It was a lesson in joy, courage, and the transformative power of a positive spirit. By the time we reached grade 9, the foundation of our friendship had become so strong that it was inevitable it would build into something more. The shift was subtle at first, like the changing of seasons. The way we looked at each other began to hold a little more weight. Our casual touches, a hand on the arm, a playful nudge, started to linger, sending sparks that we both felt but didn't dare to name. Our conversations, once about homework and dreams, now included shy questions about our feelings. It was a time of unspoken understanding, of reading between the lines and finding a new, deeper meaning in our shared history. The full bloom of our love happened in grade 9 and 10. It was a period of beautiful, innocent romance. I remember the first time I held her hand as we walked home. My heart was pounding so hard I was sure she could hear it. But she just squeezed my hand back, and in that simple gesture, everything was confirmed. We were no longer just best friends. We were each other's first love. We navigated this new territory with the same care and respect that had defined our friendship. We made a pact to always prioritize our studies, ensuring that our relationship would help us grow, not distract us from our goals. Our dates were simple, but they felt grand to us. A visit to the church was not just for prayer. It was a quiet moment to sit beside each other, feeling a sense of peace and rightness. Our study sessions at Starbucks became more intimate, with shared glances over our coffee cups and footsie under the table. Every moment was precious. We were discovering what it meant to love someone, to care for their heart as if it were your own. It was a love built on years of friendship, trust, and a deep, genuine admiration for a person. It was pure, untainted by the complexities that adult relationships often carry. We dreamed of a future where our paths would never diverge. We would go to university together, build our careers, and face the world as a team. We talked about it endlessly, with the certainty and optimism that only the young can possess. Our love was a promise, a beacon of hope for the life we planned to live. It was a time of immense happiness, where every day felt bright and full of possibility. We were young, in love, and we believed we had all the time in the world. Our bond felt unbreakable, a forever kind of love that we were sure would withstand any test. Life has a cruel way of reminding you that nothing is permanent. Her passing was sudden, a thunderclap on a clear, sunny day. One moment, she was here, the vibrant, smiling center of my universe. The next, she was gone. I don't remember the specifics of how I heard the news. My mind has blocked it out, probably as a defense mechanism against a pain so immense it threatened to shatter me completely. All I remember is the feeling, a hollow, echoing silence that instantly filled every corner of my world. The music of my life, the melody that was her laughter and her voice, just stopped. The days that followed are kind of a blur of grief. The world kept moving, but I was frozen in a moment of disbelief. How could a person, so full of life, be gone? It just didn't make sense. It felt like a cosmic error, a terrible mistake that would surely be corrected. I kept expecting to see her walk into class, to get a text from her, to hear her call my name. But the silence just grew louder, more deafening. The pain was a physical thing, a heavy weight on my chest that made it hard to breathe. I felt utterly and completely alone, adrift in a sea of sorrow without a landmark in sight. My heart, which had been so full of love and happiness, was now just a gaping wound. Angeline wasn't just my first love. She was my best friend, my confidant, my cheerleader, my entire support system. Losing her meant losing a part of myself. The future we had so carefully and joyfully planned together was erased in an instant. All our shared dreams, our university plans, our career goals, our simple promise to always be there for each other turned to dust. I was left standing in the ruins of a life we were supposed to build together, holding nothing but memories that now brought as much pain as they once brought joy. The loneliness was honestly the worst part. She was the one person I told everything to. The one person who understood me without me having to explain. Now, a profound silence stood where our conversations used to be. Who was I supposed to talk to about the unbearable pain of losing her? It was a cruel paradox. The only person I wanted to comfort me through this was the very person I was grieving. The world felt colorless. The joy she had brought into my life completely drained away. I was left with a heart full of unspoken words and a future that suddenly looked empty and terrifying. After Angeline passed, the quiet boy I used to be came back, but this time, he was shrouded in a heavy cloak of grief. I retreated so far into myself that I practically became invisible. The colors she had painted into my world faded back to a stark and lonely gray. My introversion, once a simple personality trait, became a fortress. I built walls around my shattered heart, convinced that letting anyone in would only lead to more pain. School, once a place of happy memories, became a source of constant anxiety. Every hallway, every classroom, the library, they were all haunted by her ghost, a painful reminder of what I had lost. This vulnerability, this visible sadness, made me a target. Some classmates, who perhaps didn't understand the depth of my grief, began to bully me. Their taunts and whispers were like salt in an open wound. They made fun of my silence, my solitude. They didn't see a boy drowning in sorrow. They saw an easy target. This cruelty compounded my pain, making me feel even more isolated. I felt like I was screaming for help on the inside, but no sound was coming out. The world felt hostile and unforgiving, and I had lost the one person who had always been my shield. The combination of grief and bullying sent me spiraling into a deep depression. It was a darkness that consumed everything. Getting out of bed felt like a monumental task. My grades, once a source of pride, plummeted. I lost interest in everything I used to enjoy. The dreams we had shared now felt like a cruel joke. I was just going through the motions of living, a hollow shell of the person I once was. There was a constant ache in my soul, a feeling of emptiness that no amount of time seemed to heal. I was lost, and I had no idea how to find my way back. During this dark period, I felt completely alone in my struggle. I didn't know how to articulate the storm of emotions raging inside me. How do you explain to someone that you've not only lost a person, but you've also lost your future, your happiness, and your sense of self? It felt like a burden too heavy to share. So, I carried it alone, in silence. The weight of it all was crushing me, and I started to believe that I would never feel happy again, that this suffocating sadness was my new reality. I was adrift in the quiet, with no shore in sight. There comes a point in your grief when you realize that staying stuck is a choice. It took a long time for me to get there, but slowly, a tiny spark of a question began to flicker in the darkness. Is this how Angeline would want me to live? I knew the answer was no. She, who was so full of life and light, would be heartbroken to see me so consumed by shadows. This realization was not a sudden epiphany, but a gradual dawning. It was the first step on a long and difficult road to rediscovering who I was without her. I had to learn to be me again, not just us. This journey of self-discovery was about finding my own footing. For so long, my identity had been intertwined with hers. I was Angeline's best friend, Angeline's boyfriend. Without her, I felt like a puzzle with a missing piece. I had to figure out what defined me on my own. I started small. I went back to the things I loved before, and during, my time with her. I picked up books and tried to get lost in their stories again. It was hard at first, as my concentration was shot, but I persisted. I forced myself to go for walks, not on our old familiar routes, but on new paths, trying to create new memories that were solely my own. Before I could even think about loving someone else, I knew I had to learn to love myself again, or perhaps, for the first time, I had to confront my insecurities, the ones that Angeline's love had so easily soothed. I had to face the introverted boy who was afraid of the world and teach him how to be brave on his own. This meant pushing myself out of my comfort zone. It meant saying yes to a social invitation, even when every fiber of my being wanted to say no. It meant learning to sit with my own thoughts without letting them spiral into despair. It was a process of rebuilding myself, brick by painful brick. A crucial part of this journey was accepting that moving forward did not mean forgetting. For a long time I felt guilty for any moment of happiness I experienced. It felt like a betrayal to her memory. But I came to understand that the greatest tribute I could pay to Angeline was to live a full and happy life, the kind of life she always encouraged me to pursue. My journey of self-discovery was not about erasing her, but about integrating her memory into a new version of myself. It was about carrying the lessons she taught me, about joy, courage, and love, and using them to build my own future. Healing is not a passive process, it is an active choice. For the longest time, I tried to weather the storm of my grief alone, believing it was a burden I had to carry by myself. But there came a breaking point where I understood that I couldn't do it anymore. The weight was too heavy. The first real step toward healing was admitting that I needed help. It was one of the hardest and bravest things I have ever done. Reaching out felt like admitting defeat, but in reality, it was the first true act of fighting for my own survival. I finally opened up to my family and a few trusted friends. Talking about it was incredibly difficult. The words would get stuck in my throat, choked by unshed tears. But slowly, I began to share my pain, my loneliness, and my struggle with the bullying and depression. Just giving voice to the darkness seemed to lessen its power over me. My friends, the ones who had patiently waited on the other side of the walls I had built, rallied around me. They didn't always know the right thing to say, but they showed up. They sat with me in my silence, they invited me out, and they gently pulled me back into the world of the living. Their unwavering support was a lifeline. Seeking professional support was another critical turning point. I started seeing a counselor, a neutral, compassionate person who gave me the tools to navigate my grief. In that safe space, I learned that my feelings were valid. I learned that grief doesn't have a timeline, and that healing is not linear. There would be good days and bad days, and that was okay. The counselor helped me develop coping mechanisms to deal with the painful memories and the anxiety that had taken root in my life. It was through therapy that I began to untangle the complicated knots of sadness, anger, and guilt that had tied me up for so long. Slowly but surely, I began to move forward. It wasn't a sprint, it was a slow, deliberate walk. Healing meant allowing myself to feel joy again without the crushing weight of guilt. It meant making new friends and creating new, happy memories. It meant rediscovering my passion for writing, using it as an outlet to process my emotions. Each small step, each tiny victory, was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Reaching for help wasn't a sign of weakness. It was a courageous acknowledgement that we are not meant to navigate life's deepest sorrows alone. It was the choice to live, to heal, and to hope again. The journey through grief is a transformative one. It breaks you, but if you allow it, it can also remake you into someone stronger and more compassionate. Looking back, I see that my experience, as painful as it was, taught me invaluable lessons about love, friendship, and the sheer strength of the human heart. I learned that true friendship is not about grand gestures, but about steadfast presence. It's about the friends who sit with you in your darkest moments, who don't run away when you're broken, and who gently guide you back to the light. Their patience and love were instrumental in my healing. I also learned a profound lesson about love and loss. Loving Angeline was the greatest gift of my youth, and losing her was my deepest sorrow. For a long time I thought I could never love again, that my heart was permanently closed, but healing taught me that the heart's capacity to love is not finite. Loving Angeline didn't use up all the love I had to give. Instead, it taught me how to love deeply and selflessly. Her memory is not a barrier to future love. It is a part of the story that shaped the person I am today, a person who is capable of loving again, with more wisdom and a deeper appreciation for every precious moment. As I stand here today, on December 28, 2025, I am filled with a sense of profound gratitude. I am grateful for the time I had with Angeline. Her impact on my life is indelible. She taught me to be happy, to be brave, and to believe in myself. That is a gift that can never be taken away. I am also grateful for the pain, because it taught me empathy. It taught me the importance of reaching out, of being kind, and of cherishing the people in my life. Grief carved new depths into my soul, and those depths now allow me to experience joy and connection on a level I never could have before. The dream of loving and being loved again is no longer a distant, impossible fantasy. It is a quiet hope that I hold in my remade heart. I know that I am ready now. I have done the work of healing and self-discovery. I am no longer a boy hiding behind walls, but a man who understands the value of vulnerability and connection. I will never forget Angeline. She will always be my first love, the bright, beautiful star that guided me through my youth. But I now look to the future with an open heart, ready for the next chapter, and hopeful for the happiness that is yet to come. My story is not just one of loss, it is one of resilience, healing, and enduring hope.